Cool, man. I'm just trying to think of what we spoke last week so we don't sound like broken records repeating ourselves about
So
stupid
last
things.
week, Gemini just came out. I just rewatched it before this call,
Oh,
and we
thank God.
talked. Yeah, but now I forgot everything. Yeah, I mentioned that I got some good timing on anti-gravity, the new
Oh yeah.
IDE that Google
I
launched.
haven't tried that.
Oh, I I'm gonna cheat. I'm
Yeah,
gonna open it.
I guess we were I think we're both Anthropic Claude fans, aren't we?
And guess who else, since 20 hours ago, said he is a fan? Who's a massive anti-anthropic dude, quite famous streamer.
Anti-Anthropic. Who?
Theo T3GG.
What? Why
You
did
know
he say
T3
that?
chat. Also, Theo is like every time he posts a video for a while on Reddit, people would be like, he's obviously an OpenAI shill. He gets private access to some of their models, and and basically people. He will never say anything positive about Anthropic. He hates Anthropic. But he did a video. Was it? Uh, it was how long
Maybe share
ago?
your screen. I
Okay.
I do watch a fair few Theo videos, but to be honest, I don't subscribe because he's one of those. He's like Primogen and Theo. Their content is good, but I do find it like a bit too much actually for some reason. I feel like
You
only dipping in when I want to.
you see it? So we talked about AI for infrastructure engineers,
Oh yeah,
but
that's subscribe.
but there was I am subscribed, no?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know. There was I was gonna I was hoping that the title would ring me a few more bells, but I also rewatched what we discussed about trunk-based infrastructure a little bit. But basically, this was posted. Um, I tried to open it in a new window. Not what I wanted to do.
Oh my God, you don't have premium.
No. Why would I
What?
pay?
You're an animal.
Where's
Because
where's the? It's not this one. This one is about OpenAI. This one.
I have a new favorite model.
How many hours ago? 22 hours ago. So little less
oh,
than a day.
he is. He, what is
Anthropic
this? Some
One.
sort of ironic?
No. He goes into great detail. Surprisingly, has a lot of benchmarks. He does very interesting demonstrations comparing the output of different models. He says Opus 4.5 got a massive boost in UI generation, that the Anthropic models generally were not good at that originally, but that it's really much better at it right now. So he has this snitch bench repository, and he uses cursor with git work trees, and he says in this video 5 times that git work trees are not working in cursor and that they're working on it, but it makes his life a living hell. And every time he talks about his workflow, he mentions work trees and how they're broken. It's really anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things about Git that I've never really enjoyed, like submodules and things like that.
Oh, some modules stay away from, right? But Git worktrees sound like very interesting in the age of AI, where you can just spin off a branch in a different subdirectory and have like a POC quickly, developed by an
yeah,
AI.
you need it, don't you? You need it.
Yeah, even Spec-It idea is also to like define the specification and spin off in implementation, and so that you can do different POCs. Like maybe you have the user stories and functional requirements, but then you implement it in like 5 different ways and different
Yeah,
technologies and
yeah.
different
So
benches
wait a
to
minute. I thought
compare.
you were saying that Theo was Team OpenAI, and now he's Anthropic.
He's yeah he gets access and to early access to AI, OpenAI, and he does not get any access. And then when he talks about it in this video, he mentions like there's a few other um, AI channels that are benchmarking models that are also not getting early access to the Anthropic models, and he's happy to be in the same boat as them. Something like
Wow.
Anthropic is horrible, but I've got to give it to them. This Opens 4.5 is insanely good,
So,
and
okay, sorry.
he also ranks. Here he talks about the output, the UI output of Opus, and then he gives his ranking here of output ceiling versus consistency. and he hasn't finished it there. So, but to him, he still says, yeah,
What does
obviously still
output
open
ceiling mean?
the best you can get out of it. Like sometimes you give it a prompt and it gives like a really amazing output. He says a couple of times GPT 5.1 Pro really beat Gemini 3 by a mile. And then the problem is the consistency that you get from these models is nothing compared to Opus. Like Opus and Sonnet, they are very consistent. So he's re-ranking them on the right, saying or left, however, is this mirrored? No, it's not mirrored. um, yeah. Anyway, but Gemini 3, I think last time we talked, I mentioned that I had very limited access to Gemini 3 because I used Google Cloud Code Assist licenses. I have a Google Cloud account. It's a personal one, but you can subscribe to Gemini in GCP, so you can run Code Assist, and you can then use it, and you get access to like the Google Cloud models. But the way that they release it to different subscription plans is a little bit different. So you can subscribe to Gemini AI Pro, or and you can even get like a massive promotion for 3 months or so at half the price or whatever it was to use it to that Gemini AI Pro subscription. But for some reason, to me, it made more sense, given I already have my billing accounts in GCP, to just use the seats there. I basically was trying to see if I could use it, clicked for 1 month subscription. Before I knew it, I realized that was probably not the best way to do it. Figured out how to assign a seat, because they have users within Google Cloud that you then have to allocate to licenses. You can do that automatically. So when you sign into Gemini
GCP is like project. So there's a project concept, and then there's a seat concept or something.
Yeah. So on one side, it's really cool that you have so many ways to authenticate. You can use an API key. You can use the Gemini AI. You can use this and that. On the other side is they are not consistent in the way that they're giving the different subscriptions access to the new models. And so the only way I had access was through the anti-gravity IDE, which is apparently just Windsurf rebranded, because if you search for strings, they still have the original Windsurf strings in there apparently. But anyway, so that's, and there it's free access. So it's nerfed, right? Because it's against my accounts, but the availability of the model is constantly like, to make sure my experience was not unique and to have a bigger background around benchmarking, I watched 3 or 4 videos, as you can see from my history around these latest model announcements.
Right.
So my experience was horrible. After the first
for Gemini, you were saying, right?
Yeah. After the first.
Sorry, who owns Windsurf now? The earlier comment you made.
Okay, so there was
an OpenAI.
There was a stream of like also a live stream just 20 hours ago from the Mastra people, which building AI workflows, and they went a little bit into the drama of Windsurf, because Windsurf was like the startup, and I think the CEO or founder was poached away. They were like negotiating a contract with Google, but then Google didn't manage to acquire them, afraid for antitrust lawsuits or something. So they just took the CEO. He left his whole team behind and all the IP. So he joined Google within one or 2 months. I don't know why. On the right, my suggestions are Mia Khalifa.
So basically, Windsurf went from like a huge valuation to the CEO being poached. I guess that's kind of smart.
And horrible for the early team, because all of these guys probably gave up a good amount of their life working full stop on this startup, and then the CEO just walks away with all the IP, and the company is still there and they're still employed, but it's worth nothing or something like that. So everybody hates that CEO.
I did watch a Hacker News Y Combinator interview with I think the CEO of Windsurf, and I did find it interesting how the company started by like, I think they were doing like GPU type of 3D gaming cloud stuff, and then they pivoted into Windsurf.
Yeah. So basically, they were saying that they got like 10 seconds of good use out of it. They kicked off a plan and they immediately got like 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, it's Gemini 3 just said, no, I'm overloaded, or you reached your quota. So for me, I feel like I got a lot more out of Gemini 3 initially. But what really made my impression bad over the last week is one, that the way for me to get access to it is impossible. I have to go on a waiting list, but I haven't like received an approval. On the form to go on the waiting list, they have a question which is like, are you contributing to Gemini CLI? I'm just like, no. So guess what? You're not going to get it. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
those
why
sort of
ask?
questions.
Why ask, right? When I see that question, I'm already like, yeah, okay,
Okay,
I
give
guess
up.
not then. But then on the opposite, Opus released, was it yesterday for me? Like for me, it was yesterday. Was it for you yesterday, Opus, the announcement of Anthropic? Was yesterday, right?
I don't know. It's all fading. Days are fading. Maybe the day
It was
before
like
yesterday, but
it
yeah.
was like Monday, right? Today's Wednesday. Yeah, it was like Monday during the day, and I woke up on Tuesday, and it was released. And Anthropic did it. I mean, made it so simple, right? Write in Claude code. You can go extra usage. I mean, you can go extra usage, and it will immediately throw you into your account management, your billing page, and you can just use your credit card because I'm already a subscriber. It already has my billing method there, right? So I can just click, okay, top up wallet, and I immediately have like, I don't know, I put in $30, equal to like a month subscription, $13, and right away I have access to Opus. Straight up, I can just slash Opus. There you go, 4.5. Even though I pay $20 a month or $30
Yeah.
a month in Singapore dollars for just the pro subscription, I can use Opus, but it's API charges. That means it's not like on your monthly budget. You get charged by the call. And I thought like it's supposedly much more token efficient. And therefore they say in terms of costs, it's almost similar to Sine 4.5. That's what you get when you're a Max Pro user. They say when you're Max Pro, you use Opus, they slashed it by like a third the price. So that's one of the things T3 mentioned. Anthropic sliced the price like crazy. So first they made Opus 4.1 completely useless and forced everyone to use Sonnet 4.5. And then everyone's saying they were sitting on this model until Gemini came out. And then the next week they released 4.5.
Oh,
And
nice. Yeah, so they can move quickly. Hey,
yeah,
can I just share my screen
yeah,
here?
sure, sure.
So I'm a little bit puzzled by the way things work. Like I got access to Claude Opus through Gemini. I mean, sorry, through Copilot pretty quickly. You can see my screen, right?
You use, yeah, Visual Studio. No, I don't think I see your screen. Sorry.
You don't? Oh God.
I
Um, you don't see it at all, do you? Okay, maybe let me just try share it again.
did you click the button?
Yeah, it says I'm screen sharing.
No, I see a link shared inside the chat. You're trying to share Excalidraw?
Yeah.
Oh, now I can see it.
Okay, so like okay, let's we can annotate this with some. So so Gemini 3. Oh no, that's too big. So Gemini 3 came out. I got that. They charged 1x, and then of course Opus got released like a couple of days later. I thought Opus was the the clever big thinking one.
Yep.
How come? So basically, Haiku is now, if I understand that, cheaper, right? Or I think that is it cheaper?
Haiku was super cheap. Yeah. I think this is promotional because, and it's preview because I don't think Opus would be the same as Sonnet 4.5. It's still more than Sonnet 4.5.
Yeah,
Haiku is the cheap, like in prose, Haiku is a very short um, body of text. Sonnet is longer, and an Opus is your
yeah,
big
big
life
work.
work.
Yeah,
So
I just think it's a bit curious the way that they've presented it here. Like I mean, credit to VS Code for even showing these Claude options very well. Like, I know that the GPT, OpenAI is owned by Microsoft. VS Code is Microsoft. They do show their own models first. For some reason, they throw in Grok. I don't know why. I don't even know what Raptor is. Do you know what that is?
No. Preview.
Yeah, it's just a curious state of affairs. My VS Code manage models dialogue. So, have you tried Opus? Like, do you agree with what Theo said? Is it all hunky-dory? There's no controversy?
You know my opinion about I don't have a proper benchmark, but
Just go on vibes.
yes, on vibes, I think Opus is amazing. I mean, I'm 100% Anthropic right now. So I
Anthropic
have
gang.
I'm really considering but I don't have much else to cancel, but I want to cancel everything and just go in on the max plan, $100 Anthropic. There you
Oh
go.
my goodness.
Yeah, because I mean, I think this
Oh,
month I spent about 100 anyway. I spent
speaking of spending money, so basically I got an email from my employer, and they said that I'm limited to like a soft limit of $50 with Anthropic, but for some reason the whole Anthropic UI is messed up. I can't see how much my spend is, and
Are you looking at a billing dashboard?
Let me just double check. Last time I logged in, I just couldn't see it. It's all under this company account, and I couldn't get any visibility.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, it's a
I
bit
can't
hard
see
to
it.
know what you can do if they give you an abstract number and there's no way for you to check.
Exactly. But like, for example, I tried. Here's another thing I wanted to share with you. I went nuts with this agents feature because I just learned about it. I didn't know about
The
it.
picture that you sent about the Dependabot thing?
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's interesting.
so I basically set up an agent to basically merge all the Dependabot PRs on like
That is
300
a
repos.
smart idea.
But
Wait,
okay,
but
so
did that mean you just pulled in Shah Halut on every repo?
what?
You know the worm that the NPM worm that
Oh no
been
no,
infecting.
hopefully not. Hopefully
What's
not.
his name? Shad Halut? Well, that's I don't know, right?
Okay, so let me just run you through this prompt. So use the GitHub CLI, which is the name of my agent, by the way. I'll show you that agent in a bit. To spawn agents in parallel, to look at the issues to each of my repos, and look to merge Dependabot. And then I just thought it was prude to do something like, touch repo name once done to ensure the repo isn't done again. And then I went bananas, going through. I think it launched 50 agents in parallel. So this was like 3 or 4. It was like doing 3 or 4 or 5 tool calls each one. For some reason,
Is it Haiku or Sonnet?
I was using Haiku.
Yeah, it's really fast.
And so when it was running, you can just imagine this is like 3 or 4 or 5. It also showed the token here. Now that's gone because
Yeah.
I launched up to the
Reset,
resume
yeah.
thing right now.
Don't you have it on your screenshot? I think the screenshot you sent me has it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So it did the job, I think, as best as it could. I mean, obviously it runs into conflicts and some things got messed up, but all in all, it's quite a safe process. About I don't know, 10 minutes into the whole process, this thing kind of blew me away. So you can see that it's process 45, maybe another 100 or something like that. And then halfway through the process, it says, let me create a script to process all remaining repositories more efficiently.
That's good.
And I was like, holy
That's what a
shit.
human would do, right?
Exactly. I was like, holy shit. I didn't even tell it to do that,
No, but that's exactly what you and I would do, right? We would start to do it manually. We would always get like similar problems
Exactly.
and kind of get a good feel about like what works, what are the problems we encounter, and then we make a script for it. And it's kind of like what it did.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I was getting kind of hairs on the back of my head type of thing, and then it kicks off the shell script and runs it in the background, and then it gives you
Then it
kind of
sleeps and and then it checks again.
yeah,
What's the
yeah, and then
progress?
it does a bit
Yeah.
of a summary. But okay, what I wanted to show you this is that I just don't have how many. It used a bunch of tokens, but I don't actually know how many. Is there some clever? What is the way of seeing the context window? It's just like context, isn't it?
Yeah, but like the context window is not going to tell you anything. It's usually the slash usage thing, but that's so limited now. It's just 2 bars. And it's so funny. They went from showing how much you have used, from how much you have left, back to how much you have used. It's did you not watch that whole situation with the bar? I think you were asking me, or you sent me.
Yeah, like there's a lot of controversy around that status line and everything like that. I guess that they're. I mean, it doesn't inspire confidence when they do shit like that, does it? They're trying to
The
hide
funny
it
thing
away.
is what I saw on Reddit, somebody posted like, how come when I use Cloud Code on my Mac, I get the how much I have left, and when I use it on my like my Linux box, my Debian, it shows me how much I have used. And some comment was like, isn't it funny that like the Debian package administrator refused to integrate this change and he didn't like it, and now they're back. Like in the change log, they said like reverted
Yeah.
back the usage bar to the original. But that's one of the comments that Theo said, like, you did a great job, Anthropic. I'm open to talk. Yeah, as if they need you. But anyway,
Talk to me.
and then, yeah, talk to me.
I want to move from OpenAI.
And
Chill.
yeah, he needs the red carpet. He was also constantly showing how much he spent. Like, oh, I've spent 1 hour. Like, oh, it's $150 now. It's all out of my pocket, but I'm happy to show you guys the benchmark. I mean, credit though, it's an impressive benchmark, and the way that he's very quickly spinning up all these models with the same tasks and showing them.
So how does he know how much he's spending? And I have absolutely no clue because of the usage on his
because you're in
subscription.
an org account, it looks like on mine. So a while ago we were thinking, how can we track our usage properly? And I was like, yeah, I don't really have an idea. I just wait until it's done and I look at my usage. But now I found a decent way, which is on my account in my billing page, I can see exactly how much, like pretty much live. As it is running, I can see little by little my hourly budget filling up and my weekly budget filling up, and then my extra usage, like the wallet that I put in there, also filling up with Opus.
Maybe can you give me like a rule of thumb? Like, for example, this context window here. I mean, it's half full.
There is a package called
Is a half full context maybe $2 and a full context about $4? Is there some rule of thumb I can use? You know what I mean?
I
just
think
made
the
that up, by
context
the
is
way.
really not the way to go for this, because there's even new, like with Opus 4.5, they added new capabilities into the Cloud Code shell. Things like the ability to progressively search and expose tools to the model. The ability for the model to, this whole blog post that I did about MCPs.
Yeah. But like
MCP
this is
drama.
expressed here, right? This is expressed in the system prompt, isn't it?
So basically, this whole shell even has a new functionality to automatically compact the context. So you cannot go off like this context status diagram to determine how much you've currently used, because they are changing how all of that work, and this is not meant to display your usage. There's a tab for usage.
Well, I forgot to show you the actual agent. So this is what an agent looks like. It's in the .claude agents directory, and then it's kind of like a skill, but you're supposed to specify tools and model. I mean, maybe it's an optional thing, to be honest. So here, as I mentioned, I specified haiku. To be honest, I grabbed this from some guy I've been email conversing with, a guy named James. But yeah, so this agent basically equips Claude to use the GitHub CLI, which is you know, the GitHub CLI is one of the best things about GitHub, right? You can go nuts with it.
You also wrote a skill, right? You wrote the GitHub action skill for
Yeah, I
workflows
did
trigger.
that. Yeah, so that's also something. I'm a little bit confused between agents and skills and all the rest of it. I'm a little bit like, and also my Claude. When I run Claude, I need to uninstall Beads because every time I go slash command, it's like 99% bloody Beads commands.
Absolutely. This get rid of Beats MCP. It's a complete disaster because
Is that
they don't have
MCP?
a shared
Isn't that?
protocol.
I think it's the plugin that sets all this shit up.
Oh yeah, I didn't do that. I just installed the BD CLI. I tried the MCP and I already installed the.
Manage. Okay, okay. This is going. How do you uninstall? Delete to uninstall. Okay, it's gone, and hopefully, oh man, it's still
So I've
there.
got a story about about skills because I
Ah,
I've
better,
used
much better.
actually Cloud Code, the shell has built-in agents, right? Since a few releases ago. So when you go into plan mode, oftentimes when you prompt it to
Oh,
start
oh, look
planning,
at this! I
it
just
actually
noticed this thing.
launches agents.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you
So,
have costs. I haven't seen that. There you go. They have aside from the usage, now you have an because I was every single
but
CLI actually has a really nice summary. Gemini
but
CLI,
how come
open
that? How come
Outlook.
that was so? Wait a minute. How come that's so? I guess it doesn't have the my previous run, does it?
Probably not. No, this is probably your cost from this shell session, even if
Yeah.
you restore a previous
See, this is why I
one.
don't want my commands to be polluted. That's the first time I just noticed this stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
sorry, I
removed
interrupt.
beats, and the same second you see the command that you needed.
Yeah.
Okay, so plugins, pros and cons. Same with MCPs, right? But we were just talking about agents, and I was about to like share with you my experience. You also don't know what's the difference between skills and agents.
Yeah,
So basically,
let me
agents actually are part of your shell. They come with it, no matter if you build them or not.
okay, so what agents are there already then? Are you suggesting that
The
there's
planning
something already?
agent, the explore agent. If you go into agents without building any slash agents, you will see that built in
Oh,
there's two
really?
agents at least. Yeah. And I think they're adding
No,
more.
no, no, well, oh, built in. Okay, sorry. Oh, fuck, I just
You're
killed the
not sharing
share.
it anymore.
Let me share my whole screen. Hopefully, I don't share anything insane. Yeah, so in agents, I've got my GitHub CLI agent there. And
There's a
then it's
lot more there
built
now.
in agents,
Yeah.
general purpose, status line setup.
I ran that one.
Oh, okay, okay. And then it sets up the status line. Okay, what is it that?
Status line is kind of like by default that agents copies your bash shell status and then it shows your bash shell status line at the bottom. I think you just
Oh, okay. I'm supposed to
yeah.
run
No, you're
that one.
paying. I think
Oh,
after a while I would have come back and tried to run it. Your auto compact, I have set that off.
yeah. That's
Okay,
that's that.
so
What did I just run there?
you wanted to do status line, but let's not do that. So basically, some agents are in there. The explore agent from uses Haiku to quickly go through all of the paths and make a summary of what's inside your repository. That's what sometimes, I guess that's what it uses when you do your initial init. It will use the explore agent to quickly find the data, so not to waste money on Sunday on things like that, right? And then it has the planning agent, which when you ask it to go into plan mode, it will maybe spawn an explorer and then it will spawn a plan agent to build look it gives it the context and it says like I have to do this thing. It's very interesting because when you do control O, you see the actual prompt that it sends to the planning agent. So it's interesting to see. I've been trying to leverage agents and spawn them the way that you've done, but like what you've done with the GitHub CLI agent is really nice. I mean, that's a really good use, and I'm happy for you it worked out because when I tried it, it was a disaster. Um, and then skills. So I have a very funny experience with skills.
Okay.
If
I'm
you
I'm
want.
I'm trying to describe just to capture. Yeah, you're welcome to add screenshots and other things to this
Okay,
Excalibur.
I'm sure if I can. But basically, what happened was this: I spent like close to $15, pretty much my whole monthly budget on Opus to generate a really extensive plan um, of a feature that I'm working on. And then I was like, okay, I can't use more than that, like because I'm over
I,
budget.
I still don't
Let
understand
me
how you can spend $50 like that. Okay, carry on.
15
Oh, okay, okay.
um, on API calls on Opus 4.5. And so I went to anti-gravity and asked it like, okay, here's a very extensive plan, and here's the prompt that SpecKit provides. It's a very detailed prompt, like do this, read the research, read the plan, and start generating tasks, right? So I told you that I switched all of the prompts to use beads to create tasks instead of generating a long markdown, because then it gets lost when it needs to do the work, and it basically dies as soon as it tries to read the number of tasks it needs to do and try to figure out what it has to complete. So Beats does help me there. I do think it really helps me to create very focused sessions. So I asked Gemini to with the prompt that works really well with Sonnet, and it did an absolutely horrible job. It created every single issue with just a title and a one-line description. Now, the idea is that you can just read that one task and you can just go off and do what you need to do. So that task needs to have information about which file to change, what to change, why to change it, acceptance criteria, references to the plan and the
But
research
I mean,
about
surely
why
you
this
could have
change needs to happen.
instructed it to keep to some sort of template.
Yeah, so that's the prompt, right? That's the prompt I gave it. I gave both Sonnet and
Okay, so
Gemini
okay,
3
so
the
basically
same
you
prompt.
told it to do it, but it ended up just doing one line.
And it did one line. And I was like, how is it possible? How come Sonnet 4.5 is so much better than Gemini 3, which is supposed to be like the premier model right now from Google? And of course, we're talking about skills. You can guess. I have a beat skill that I completely forgot about. So even though my prompt was identical and it only showed like use beats, create a task like this,
Oh, so you're saying that
Sonnet,
the beads prompt messed up the process or something, or what
what
are you
I'm
saying?
saying is that Sonnet has an agent skill capability where it is like progressively learns how to use beats. And my prompt was identical, but behind the scenes within the shell environment or however the cloud code is built, because it's closed source, somehow Sonnet creates very detailed issues. And maybe I can share my screen actually.
Yeah, sure,
Um,
sure.
I, I,
I'm
I,
curious.
I send
Okay,
you
so basically, Claude came up. Claude won because of beads and knowing the stuff. Okay, but that still doesn't explain why Gemini did these one line things. But anyway.
okay, I can explain it. I actually send you a detailed video about
Oh yeah,
because I
actually, I haven't read your chat very closely. Let me just read it now.
uh
Phone a farmer.
that's apparently a Belgian dude that works for Astra that is one of the like original Gatsby developers, and he's one of the early. He's Belgian, and he's like the first farmer founder members of Mastra. And Mastra is a really interesting TypeScript only framework to build agent workflows. So it's a really cool framework that I did a conference talk about back in March. So
Oh,
you can
oh,
see
by the
my
way, are you going to
screen.
be in Belgium soon? Because there's a good conference at the end of the year or the new year.
I was telling so I went to
FOSDEM.
Singapore 3 times and I went to Kuala Lumpur, and I was telling my wife let me up for conferences, and I was telling I'm going to Belgium in January, or and then she
Yeah.
was the look she gave me, I knew there was no way.
Shit. Okay. When was the
So
last
you
time
can
you were in
see
Belgium
beats
then?
almost, I don't know. I can here, this
Ages
is
ago.
beats.
Okay.
Let's
Okay. Let's
stop
carry on.
distracting me. Okay, so
Beats.
this yeah, so this is a cheap Beats UI. It's pretty cool actually. It
Is
gives
this
you
your UI? Because you
no,
vibe
no.
coded one.
I
Whose is
started
this
vibe
one?
coding. This one, so there's a discussion on Beats where they talked about different UIs. It's out of scope for the project because they don't want to pollute it. Beats is meant to be a CLI text focus tool for agents to use. UI is out of scope and it's hard to maintain and puts with maintenance. So they completely separate the Beats UIs. Therefore, there's quite a few of them. This one is actually quite actively maintained. Anyway. So it keeps track of all of the issues. It works directly with the Beats socket, so it's pretty fast. The way I've instructed it to use Beats in my task generation is to create epics for my big features and then to create features for the user stories. So I get these nice flows of like, these are my 2 features that I was working on. And here I have like the different phases. So this is what Opus generated. No, this is what Gemini generated. I mean, if we're going to compare that to this, which is way more in line with the actual prompt, which is like user story 1, user story 2. And when you look at them, you have the graph and the dependencies.
Oh man, this makes me... This is so much faster than Jira. I could cry.
Yeah.
I mean, Jira is so bad.
Yes. So this is one of the story that the user story captured by Gemini, right? 1-line description, automatically generate. And then in the dependencies are all the tasks that belong to this user story. So one of these, like for example, this one was generated by Gemini, which in the overview, we can see it's just like, oh, add this Golang packet library to automatically infer the JSON schema from a JSON data sample. Add this into a new infer service into internal. It doesn't even say like it's part of the Grid API because this repository has many different things. So this is absolutely disgusting. If I want to give this to Haiku, it's going to completely, it's going to go bonkers and completely mess up my code, right?
Yeah.
So this is one created, and then this, I show you the other one now, created by like this one, for example, is created by Sonnet. Oh no, this one is this.
You need to add a label that it's created by
no
Gemini.
There's so many
or Claude.
Where is it?
Yeah, can you alter your Beads skill? Make sure you label which model put this thing in.
That's actually not a bad idea because there's the author part here, and I can see sometimes Claude puts itself as the assignee, and that actually keeps it like nice to see. But integrate inference into state upload, update proto definitions, update goals, schema is that. Okay, this is, so in the video I sent you, I cut out all of the me searching which one was created by which model. And it's really neat, like the difference. But here you can see the difference, right? This is how I want an issue to look like, which is update the Go SDK schema source field. So that it lives here, right? This is the description. Then this is another flag that Beats has to design, right? This is the changes you need to make. There's some notes, which it hasn't had any notes. And then there's the acceptance criteria. Output key is like this. This is the final result. And this is kind of like what I want. Like the big planner model Opus generates this type of design. And then I want to give it to like a very fast and dumb model. And if they are not going outside and too creative, then Haiku normally would end up with exactly to the spec. And then I would be able to like, everything would perfectly fit together, right?
That makes a lot of sense. That's a really good optimization. So just to replay my understanding, you get Opus to plan everything, put everything in Beads as task, and then you spin out Haiku agents to implement it.
Yeah, so Beats allows models to focus on the tasks, and then you can kill a session, and you can just spin up a new one, tell it to read, this is your work, this is your scope right here, and then again goes off and does that thing, right? And it keeps
so cool. So how
come Gemini was so horrible at it, right?
Yeah.
So in anti-gravity, this was actually the output from Gemini.
Is this anti-gravity right here?
Yeah, this is anti-gravity.
So it's just exactly like VS Code, I guess.
Yeah, they're all VS Code clones.
You're animal. I can't believe you have Minimap. That's how I judge people.
Minimap is great. I use it all the time to scroll. Whenever I see an error, I just click on it, and then I'm right there. I see it. It's really nice, the color coding of it. Yeah, I really like it.
Okay, I don't like Minimap.
So this is the spec kit. This is the spec kit task that you need to give in anti-gravity. Again, you see how many stupid folders I have. I have Gemini, I have Codex, I have Cloud, and now I have to add another one for agents/workflows because that's what anti-gravity uses. And they're all the same. They're all exactly the same. Now, the problem is here. when I say like, this is how you use CLI calls, this is how you create a feature, an epic, right? This is how you create a user story. And you add the specs like this, and this is the
Oh,
phase it
okay,
belongs
okay.
to.
So you're
And
templating it a
this
little
is,
bit.
yeah. But as you can see, the only thing I say is you give it a title, you give it a description, and nothing else. And I was like, huh, so maybe this is my problem. How did I have a difference with what I give Sonnet? And I go to Sonnet, and it's exactly the same. You just give it a description, and there's no information about giving it the design notes or acceptance criteria, right? So I was like,
Okay,
how
so it
come?
must have pulled out some context from your user profile or something.
Yeah, so you put this under my home directory. I don't know if you can see it in the terminal
Yeah,
here.
yeah, .claude. Yeah,
I
I'm always on. I like to keep everything on a project level. I hate to put things in my home directory.
absolutely agree with you because I want to check this into to Git. So if anyone pulls
Yeah,
it down, that
exactly.
can get the exact same experience, right? But anyway, this is how apparently when I installed, this is how skills worked. I don't know if right now you can do it at the project level for skills, but issue creation is here. And
Nice.
issue creation is very detailed. Design
Yeah,
fields, acceptance criteria.
yeah. This is so good.
Oh my God. I completely forgot about it, right? And so I didn't even know like this is in the
Okay, so
works. Like
mystery
what does it
solved,
even
right?
do?
So Gemini is not that
Absolutely.
bad, or
Yeah.
can't be blamed.
So at that point, I think Gemini, my first intuition was like Gemini is really good at following the instructions. Because another thing that's different between the two is that here they are perfectly like this, user story, colon, and then the name. But I also just noticed now when we're talking about it, here it's like phase two, phase B to B. Why is it so different? Why are they not like following the same? Because if I look at any other issues in the epics in the back, so this is some problem with this UI. I can't go back to the old epics to show you how they looked. Once they're closed, they're not here anymore. Also, I can't show you the comments. So on a lot of these, I solved it by letting Sonnet add comments with missing design documents. But yeah, so now I just noticed as well that I actually give it the sample is like this, right? It's like phase setup. Actually, it is like this story US1.
Yeah, yeah.
So it does put the story on it, but yeah,
Well, this is cool.
yeah.
Oh man, I just love that I need to sync my work Jira into Beads or something. I did see someone developed a plugin or something, so
I'm
I
I'm like I think 10 versions behind Beats by now, right? Because this thing moves so fast. And then when I look at the change logs, it's like new feature, then two commits later, or new release with fix and revert, and then I see commits like fix like corrupt data issue, and I was like, okay, I don't want to update because it's like it works. And it's moving too fast. I don't want to like spend the day to move to a new version, and then also I have to make sure my skills updated. I have to make sure my templates
yeah,
are
I
updated
mean
with the right
it's
flags.
such a cool time right now. So like I wanted to maybe just touch on I mean we are early adopters. Is the rest of I was just curious to ask if the rest of your company or your team is using the same stuff as you or it's not yet really.
So this is where we talk. So last time, one thing you mentioned to me was Steve Yeager's talk at the summit, where he mentioned about people that do not adopt AI significantly have a disadvantage, and there's a big problem in OpenAI where they don't know how to do the reviews because
Yeah.
they cannot compare somebody that does use AI against somebody who does not use AI. And you
Yeah,
hinted at it, but then I watched.
I don't know if you noticed that Claude also published this like paper on productivity
You
gains.
shared it with me as well, yeah.
It was,
I
I think it was quite a big number, like speeds up individual tasks by 80%. I mean,
The thing
that's
is,
pretty.
one of the first lines in this paper is like we asked Sonnet to analyze, and Sonnet came up with these hypotheticals, and I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah,
we asked Sonnet to analyze the productivity gains of Sonnet.
yeah, I mean, like one of the things I always get from Sonnet is like it's gonna take 3 4 days to build this thing, or one of like 2 weeks, and so on. Um, and
What you
then
asked it to estimate
no, I
the.
don't ask it. Every single time you ask it to plan, maybe it's in my spec kit prompts again, right? I'm using these tools. I don't know.
Oh, okay, I
Maybe
think
inside there
your
somewhere.
context is polluted then more than mine at least.
well, it's been effective. But it's kind of funny because another thing that happens since we spoke is the research preview of Cloud Code Web ran out and on Sunday, right? So I had like we spoke maybe on Tuesday and I had like a week to and I was literally rushing to maximize the use. So usually I use SpecKit, right? I build out these big plans. So I went to the Cloud Code Web research preview and on the mobile app while I'm at a restaurant to watch the F1 Las Vegas. I was on my phone specking out a feature for my project in Cloud Code Web, or actually on the mobile app,
Yeah.
and there's no spec kit, there's no beats in that environment, right? It's a very
Yeah.
sandbox
So
environment.
how the hell were you doing that?
It kind of what I wanted to say was like without spec kit, without all of this, like what you just said, context polluted things, just give the tool in its like natural environment. And I think that they were trialing Opus in this environment too, to be honest. They tell everyone, here's $250, give it some task, we control the environment, and we'll see how Sone and you know how they do trials, right? So it gave me really good results. So then I wanted to adopt this one because this one is quite significant, right? I want to basically what I'm working on is on the Terraform state management. Whenever you do Terraform apply and you have some outputs, I want to capture a schema around those outputs. So it will show a JSON schema. So if you're building some other infrastructure somewhere else, you can pull down that JSON schema from the other state and you can code against that because that's what you can expect that the outputs will look like. And it will also change, right? If the output schema changes, it will flag it. It will say like, yeah, the values change. You need to replan. But not only that, the schema changed. So you may have like complete breakage when you consume these outputs, right? So it's quite a big features with a lot of capabilities in there. So the initial thing that I asked while I was in watching F1, I asked ChatGPT, like, I've got this API. I want to do like I want people to be able to register the shape of those outputs. My primary library is in TypeScript, and they have these definition files, and TypeScript is a great language to defining schemas. However, not everyone is using TypeScript, and it would be annoying that you have to define a TypeScript interface. Although I like the way of writing TypeScript is way more nicer than defining JSON schema, in my opinion. But I thought maybe to keep it simple, TypeScript can easily go to JSON schema. Maybe there's some fidelity loss and not exactly the same, but you can go between them. So I thought like JSON schema seems like the best option to go across languages because then you can have JSON schema support in everything, Golang, Python, and everything. So a little bit, a little back and forth between me and OpenAI, which is really more like a rubber duck at that point, right? It just says, yeah, sure, go with JSON
You're
schema.
great.
Like,
You are great.
yeah, absolutely. Also, shadow conspiracy. Anyway, so that was the first step, right? Identifying how do we capture the schema? And this whole inference thing wasn't a thing. I was just like, I want to give people the ability to just post like an endpoint to post what the output shape will be like, and then we can look at like validating it, right? So, but I was thinking to myself, this is so complicated. For 100%, there's 100 like edge cases and scenarios that I'm not taking into account. But I think that's what's great about Sonnet. And this is one of the things that I shared in a video with you as well, is that I asked Sonnet to do these things in a web console, using my phone with a very basic description. And it gives me something which kind of works. But then what happened is when I got home, I was like, it only implemented half of it. For example, it didn't do the schema validation part. It gave the endpoint for people to post a schema, but it didn't give an like ability to, when you do Terraform apply, it doesn't track if the schema validation is still valid for those outputs. So I was like, oh, that's missing. And so I decided that I wanted to adopt this branch created by Cloud Code with SpecKit. So I wrote a special prompt and modify all the scripts, which is like this branch was created outside of SpecKit. Now adopt it, look at all of the existing work that has been done, and then create a feature like description. And then also I asked Opus to review it from like an infrastructure, consultant engineer. What are the day two operations that, may be issues? For example, we designed the feature to track the JSON schema per state, per output. But I'm like, yeah, but the network goes from dev to prod. So the schema should be the same. So why do I attach the schema to the state output? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. But I'm always like the devil's advocate. I'm going to tell it, we should make it global. And he was like,
yeah, okay. So just to summarize what you were saying to me is that
yeah.
You're watching F1. You're on Claude Code mobile. You develop some ideas. Opus or Sonnet shows that it's much better, and then you were able to adopt it in your spec kit flow that your mobile session effectively, right?
Yeah. I was able to clone the branch, adopt it with the spec kit workflow that goes in through detailed user story and edge case analysis, and then identifies what was done and what wasn't done.
That's cool.
What is high priority?
I'm trying to find reasons not to use my mobile, but yeah, okay, awesome.
Yeah,
I wanted to quickly ask, since you're showing the Beads UI here, like one thing I don't have good visibility of, which is of course why project managers love to look at Jira or Pivotal or whatever those things are called. How quickly are you munching through these tasks? Do you have a velocity or something like that? Like, how do you measure?
I really like Beads in the way that it tries to be a local Jira. It gives you stats. It gives you rundown. It gives you charts.
It does?
There's a whole bunch. Yes,
it does?
There is BT stats. Yes, it tells you how long an issue
Can you show me some stats?
Yeah, but like I said, I've used Cloud Code Web for a while, so it's not going to be here. Hold on.
Oh yeah, I think I'd noticed the BD stats command, but
there is a BD stats, and
I'm not using it in anger yet. Oh, I need to get my prompt to do a carriage return like yours.
Yeah, there's the average lead time.
What does that mean? That means it takes 60 hours for something to get done, or what does that mean?
Yeah, don't ask me because I don't use these. But your question was, are there stats? And there are. There are related to hours and time, because it keeps track of when an issue was created and when an issue was closed, and things like that. It has quite a lot of things like what you would expect. This is why when I was talking to you about building a UI for this, is like I kind of was inspired by Trello, right? Because you have these little cards, you have the labels, you have the comments.
You're inspired by what? Sections. Sorry? Travel?
Inspired by Trello.
Trello. You mean Trello, right?
Trello that was acquired.
Yeah, like a Kanban board or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, which was acquired by Atlassian, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. But that's super cool. Basically, at the back of my mind during our conversation, I'm just thinking about the human aspect, because I feel supercharged by AI, but I'm just thinking, like, in a corporate environment, how does this work with team members? How do you rationalize the productivity? How do you train people? All these things are just floating in my mind right now.
That's what you were asking earlier, and I diverted to the talk from Steve Yagge about how.
Oh yeah, like senior staff engineers. I love that.
And what happened was the craftsmen were doing the same thing our staff engineers are doing today. No, that's word for word, right? That's what they say.
I love that.
Yeah. And then
that's what they say, word for word.
Word for word, by the way, and the whole room laughed. But then Gene Kim also talked about the DORA reports and the work they do there, where they identified a significant. I think the DORA report did say that there wasn't like a performance improvement, but one of the things that he highlighted, and I think was very relevant to the talk that we had last time, which is that AI usage is a skill that you become more confident in the more you use it.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you never used it, you're going to use an LLM. You're not really familiar with how to prompt it. It's going to give you something that looks good, but when you poke through it, it's actually garbage. And you're immediately going to use their trust. And you don't know how to validate it.
It definitely rewards people who've spent time using it. Like, I was going to say that, like, what you were doing by trying different models,
Yeah.
by using work trees to try the things that Theo is doing. Like the more you do that, the more you almost resurrect an old project and just try again.
I really think it's
the more you're going to learn, right? The more investment in time.
It's really changing the workflow of a software engineer.
Really, it's crazy.
Way more towards the review part, which I always thought was a great part of it, though. I had this.
Well, you say review, but I think more like it's more of like an orchestration thing. I feel like it's a pipeline. Like you got to go back, or you got
It's both of them. Both, you need to know how to prompt and feed the information and keep the context stirred so that it can be focused and delivers the task, although that the tools will more and more be better at that. Because right now Opus is doing a lot of things like automatically compacting, finding the tools relevant and executing them correctly, which is less and less on you and more on the tool, right? But on the other side, so you need to orchestrate it, but you need to be able to capture the requirements, fine tune them, and basically review what the model is telling you are the user stories, reviewing what the edge cases are, scoping it down, making sure that it is like that's acceptable for what I'm trying to deliver. Talking to your stakeholders to make sure that we are okay with like it working this way and not doing that part, because that's going to be, and that's one thing I really liked about Opus, because after I had it like generate all of the things, I give it I should have saved the prompt, which is like, okay, look for sentences that look simple on paper, but have a huge implication in terms of complexity that they add. And I give an example, which is like one of the sentences that the model loves to put in these requirements is like, make sure that the error messages are very detailed about what's going wrong, and that the user knows like how to react and work on the error message, right?
Actionable.
It loves to do it. Sounds great. Yeah, actually sounds great. And then you get to the implementation part, or you do a review, and then I use another model to do the review, and it keeps tripping up on this. It's like, this is not clear. Like, what does it mean? What is an actionable error message? And it goes crazy. And then you have to like, and I basically asked it. And in this case, right, this is kind of MVP, and I'm okay with the error message just being a log in the server and just being like a red bar basic feedback. That didn't work. And then Opus went through all of the specs and immediately highlighted like 5-6 cases where this is kind of like overkill for an MVP. This is kind of like, this might be really have big implications in terms of like, yeah, I love that one. Because that's my biggest problem, like scoping down these models. So that's the first part, right? Being able to control the context, keep the scope.
I still don't actually understand how you can bugger off for 5 like weeks ago. I think you were maybe exaggerating. Like you just get your tasks together, and then you go to the gym for 5 hours, and then you come back and the work is done. Like, I mean, that doesn't sound reasonable.
Exaggerating. There was about one feature which is adding labels to Terraform state and then giving a query engine to be able to query the labels, right? And I spent 2 days on going through the specs and the user stories and selecting the Golang library that allows you to build expressions for those labels. And it's kind of a small scope. Compare that to building a whole authentication system with OIDC and key right? So I kind of didn't realize how very scoped and narrow that particular story that I gave you was, because I felt like I got a little bit obsessed. I was captivated by this whole idea that you can walk away from the computer and it's doing work for you while you're asleep or something. But I think in practice it's not really the case, because models and agents are getting faster and faster. There's no real optimization there. The optimization is purely in your prompting, your workflow, your review. Yeah. So I do always tend to walk away when I see that the model has kind of kicked off in a loop and is kind of working on things, and I don't want to sit here and just watch it at that point when I'm kind of sure that it's okay. So I walk away from my machine a lot more, and I decide that I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm gone for an hour, and I come back. I don't know how long it ran, right? But it pretty much got to a state where it was like, oh, I'm approaching context limits. Let me summarize and see what I've done. And things like that. So
I mean, you must go also YOLO, because when I was running that agent thing, it kept on asking me for prompts, all throughout the session, annoyingly.
it prompts you for
permission
yeah.
modals, right?
So funny, I never had it delete my home user directory. I've never had it like git hard reset anything. I don't give it access to any databases. So I haven't had those issues. But I've noticed that the CLI prompts now, like when I go into Codex and you go to approvals and you go to like give it full access in Codex, before it was like, oh, okay, you give me full access, great. Now it goes like, are you sure it may completely destroy your machine? Are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, whoa, you're scaring me now. So before it was just okay, but I guess.
Going back to Gene Kim, I just noticed I have a book by Gene Kim right next to me, the Accelerate book.
Accelerate.
I don't know if you've read that one. I mean, Gene Kim is a legend. So just to repeat what you said, that Gene Kim said, to be honest, I didn't watch Gene Kim's presentation. So he's saying that the more time people like us spend with working on these things, the more
they trust it.
Yeah. Well, it's not so much trust. It's more.
He says trust.
Competent we get too, I suppose.
I guess, but it's more also about like trusting what it's doing. It's okay. Knowing where to look for what you know are like the areas where it will mess up.
Yeah. I guess trust is a bit wishy-washy, isn't it? It's not, it's a bit
I think vibey, it's a great word because if you don't trust something, you know the quote, trust but verify. But if you don't trust something, you're gonna really go into very deep details verifying like every single line of code. Whereas at this point, I'm verifying the integration tests. I have a couple of layering rules that I define, like do not create a direct dependency between the repository and the HTTP handler. Make sure that you go through a service layer, and the service layer is used by the HTTP because we're using the services in many areas, not just the handlers and things like that. So more in like those layering type of things, and those scary refactors, to be honest, because like I know that unit tests were working, but then now I suddenly have to completely break down all the folders and move all of the logic all over the place.
Sorry. My wife has just messaged me. I need to help her out with the kids.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Emergency.